Today I'd like to talk about how you can prepare to play Duport Etude number 13 for the 2020 All-State and All-Region auditions organized by Texas Music Educators Association. Hopefully this tutorial is useful to you. Before we go any further, number the first measure of each line. There are 126 measures total. This piece was composed by the famed French cellist Jean-Louis Duport and published around 1800. It is one of 21 exercises designed to illustrate Duport's writings on how to play the cello. Publishers named these pieces Etudes, which is how we refer to them since. Most of the Etudes, including number 13, are written for two cellos. The Houseman edition, available free of charge on ISM LP, includes the complete score. I would encourage you to consult this edition. You might play the second cello part to get a better sense of the music by hearing the bass line and harmony. Duport did not write any dynamics, leaving it up to the performer to add them according to their understanding of the score, taste, and imagination. A good rule of thumb is to play the reiteration of material softer in an echo. You could, for example, play measures 21 and 22 as an echo of measures 19 and 20. Regarding the bowings, Duport uses dots to indicate separate bows, which he calls détachés, as opposed to legato. Therefore, dots here should be played precisely and with a ringing tone. We will simply release the bow's pressure on the string this way. This is an example from measure 9, which becomes Similarly, we should release the bow at the end of each slur in the opening section of each part. This is measure 1 and then measure 49. Note that measure 56 ends with a single eighth note up bow. Also, there are no slurs in the original edition at the end of measures 57 and 59. While Duport notated fingerings, I will at times suggest alternatives that you may consider if you feel that they are better suited to your hand or to your ear. Keep in mind that while we all strive to learn different skills on the instrument, at the end of the day, and especially for an audition, the most important factor should be how you sound your best. For example, in measures 23 and 24, if you stay in first position through the third eighth note and use the thumb on the harmonic A, you will save yourself one extension and one position change, which can be more comfortable and in turn can make your playing more fluid. In measures 42 through 45, if you don't mind trilling on the thumb, you could well stay in the D position. That way you'll avoid shifting down to the C position in measure 42. You'll avoid the extension to the B in measure 44 and the position change to begin measure 45. Another alternative fingering I like is at measure 69. Here you could just as easily go onto the A string on the fourth eighth note G for a clearer sound. You may also want to use the following fingerings in measures 84 and 86 to avoid the extension between 4 and 1 on A, C. Here is another way to play measure 89 and measure 90 to avoid an extension and jumping between positions. In measure 104, the last eighth note is F sharp in the earlier edition. You may find it more convenient to use the half-step interval G to F sharp and change position at the last eighth note of measures 105 and 108 on the F sharps. This sets your hand into the new position by shifting instead of crab walking. Finally, in measure 120, please don't feel obligated to play the B with the fourth finger. 3 will do just fine. This etude is challenging for the left hand. Let me now suggest approaches in this area. In measures 32 through 35, the index guides you into the next position. It is important that you know how far the index will travel, what positions you are in and you are going to, and the distance between the index and the thumb in the old and the new positions. Also, be sure to check that your octaves line up. This is how I would practice. Here I have written out an exercise to prepare to play measures 32 through 35. Placement of the second finger. The same approach can be used in measures 108 through 110. Note that in the first set I use G sharp, even though it does not belong in the key. This serves to place your hand to play the D sharp without extension. By now you've realized that a lot of my practice time is about making playing as comfortable as possible so that I can best express the musical ideas. Here too, be sure to know how far the index will travel, what positions you're in and you're going to, and the distance between the index and the thumb in the old and the new positions. Now we go ahead. Notice here the step and a half at the thumb. And now with the placement of the second finger. Which then becomes in measures 113 and 114, it is important that you know whether you're playing a major or minor third, which will respectively be small or big in the hand, so as to prepare the distance between the second finger and the thumb. Also, the second finger guides the position changes. To prepare for this, I recommend the following exercises. For the music to sound fluid, I suggest a tempo ranging from quarter equals 72 to 86. Naturally, fluctuations will and should occur as part of phrasing and letting the music breathe. As always, slow practice will go a long way. Only increase the tempo gradually so that your work will be most effective. Thanks for watching. Let me hear from you with questions or comments. I'd like to thank my graduate assistants, Tsun Kwok and Michael Stringer of TMEA for their help and interest in realizing this tutorial. Good luck!